Do you ever wake up some mornings and just really question what you're doing with your life? Okay, cool. So I'm not the only one. Or even like why you spend so much time focusing your energy on the things that you focus your energy on. Like, why does it matter? I don't know. Like, let's talk about it. So I have always questioned the meaning of life. Like, what is the point of all of this? Maybe there is no like meaning to life in the sense that we seem to put so much meaning on so many things that are trivial. Like how many followers do we have on Instagram, or what social media app we should be using in order to like gain recognition or generate followers, or I mean, at the end of the day, build a business that generates income so that we can pay our bills. I get caught up in the details of things, and um, I think just as of late, it's been coming more and more to my awareness of how much energy I invest into things that, if I really take a step back and acknowledge within myself, if I care about, I don't care about them. And not from a sense that like I don't care, it's that it's coming from a sense of like, I don't know how much meaning this is actually putting into my life. Am I actually happy doing the things that I'm doing? um and yeah, it all comes back to life purpose. Like, what are we here for? So I don't claim to be any guru in this stuff, like, at all. It's definitely, I am sharing my mess with you. That's my message. um because I do believe that I'm not the only person out there that experiences these doubts and questions and really gets quite confused about everything. So one thing personally that I have found to be rather helpful with helping gain an understanding of myself so that I can feel more at home with who I am, which inevitably I think helps generate your purpose, is birth charting and human design. Also, the pattern app, by the way. But the reason why I say that is because I personally love those types of things because it helps uncover blind spots um, within my awareness or with how I live my life, of things that like maybe I kind of stifled because I felt ashamed of parts of myself that I didn't really think were norm or mainstream. So I stifled those things. When like learning more about my birth charting, it's like, no, you're not supposed to be normal and mainstream. Like these are elements of you that are part of who you are. And it's definitely been helpful to help validate some of the experiences that I have, some of the sources of where like shame and doubt and insecurity come into my life. I can easily trace back to parts in my birth chart or parts in my human design, or even like things that come up on the pattern app that help me understand where a lot of these self-limiting beliefs come from. So yeah, definitely check that stuff out if you haven't before, because I do, even if you don't believe in it or not, that's not really relevant. That's not part of the conversation we're having here. It's just a resource for you to be able to read things and then agree with them or not agree with them. Does it bring up anything for you or not? Like, do you see that thing, like that element of you that's being described in your human design chart, resonating with where you might be out of alignment or in alignment in your life, or how you show up, what have you? So that's where I really like that type of stuff. Secondly, I really enjoy meditating to help separate myself from these overwhelming, like, WTF questions that I have. um, Honestly, I'm not the greatest meditator in the world. There are many different ways to meditate, by the way, and we talk about some of those in the Mindset Lab. So those are all outlined in there. But what I find is the most helpful is it helps me bring separation or space between the overwhelming thoughts and emotions, to help me acknowledge that I am not my thoughts or emotions. I am the awareness of the thoughts and the emotions. Meditation helps me kind of separate a little bit so that I can journal about it. And I really do find that journaling is such a great tool when it's used properly, though. So I have done journaling in the past where it was not helpful at all. It was more like me going down the vortex of like obsessing over thoughts and emotions that I was having. I don't think that that's healthy journaling. I think that that's like hamster wheel journaling, and I'm not okay with that form of journaling. Where I find journaling helpful is when it's guided or directed. So what I mean by that is like uncovering limiting beliefs around certain ideas or aspects of things. So as an example, like waking up and be like, what on earth am I doing with my life? Well, that's not the only question that's there, right? I'm sure if you do this exercise yourself, you'll notice that there will be other things that come up. Like, what am I doing with my life? Well, why am I questioning that? And then all the self-limiting beliefs will eventually start pouring out onto the paper. Like, well, I don't think I'm good enough. Like, who am I to like be able to help people in the capacity that I do? Who am I to think that I'm worthy of the amount of income every month that I want to generate? All that type of stuff. Like it could go on and on and on. It could be pages long. And in the beginning, it's really difficult too, because as you start uncovering limiting beliefs, there's going to be more of them attached, and it'll just keep coming up and coming up and coming up. But as you start developing that muscle of being aware of these subconscious limiting beliefs, it's going to be a lot easier to be aware of them, challenge them, and move the fuck on. Not that that means that those limiting beliefs won't come up other days of the week. Like, I definitely struggle with a lot of similar themes of limiting beliefs, as maybe you do too. So like even the whole idea where I wake up and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. It's like, okay, well, I don't feel like I'm good enough because of this reason and that reason and blah, 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 right? It's like it's taking all those things, challenging them, reframing them, and then continuing on with my life. And trust me, this stuff takes a long time. So don't expect this can happen overnight. But I think the more that you're able to develop the tools to really check in on when you're having those limiting beliefs or self-doubts, of really questioning like what you're here for and why, like what your purpose is in life, how you can fulfill that purpose. Trust me, I don't have it figured out at all. In fact, like me even doing this video right now is, I feel like a bit of a hypocrite because of the fact that I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I have no sweet clue. Like even just so many things. It's just, I really question a lot of the things that I do, why I've created them, all that type of stuff. Like what would it be like if I let all of it go and just started with a clean slate, right? Like I really, maybe that's the reason why I'm talking about this stuff with other people, is because I really struggle with understanding what my life purpose is. And I don't feel like I've attained it yet. So constantly checking in on these limiting beliefs and self-doubts and evaluations of myself and the hypercriticism that I have towards some of the things that I've done and created. These types of things are ways that I can slowly over time start shifting like how and why I see certain things. And yes, like some days are better than others. I think that's just the whole point of it, is I don't know if it's supposed to be easy. Is it? Like maybe that's our perception that needs to change, of like if it's supposed to be easy to find your life purpose or not. Yeah, I guess it's all about perception. But bringing in awareness to those things, to me, has been the hugest shift in terms of making changes in my thoughts so that I can make the actionable changes in my life to start leading a more fulfilled life that I actually feel happy about. So anyways, from one wounded healer to another, I hope that helps clarify a few things with me sharing how I kind of work through some of my doubts and limiting beliefs that I have, so that I can, keep moving down that path of finding like awareness and happiness and understanding what purpose really means.